What is wrong with Rafael Devers? I'm going to run him through my 3 pillars of mental hitting. Pillar number 1 is mindset. Mindset is how you think about yourself, your situation, and the world around you. It is pretty clear that with the changing of positions, he's quite possibly not so happy with that change. Not only is it a change in itself, but he might have actual negative thoughts about the situation. And those negative thoughts are definitely going to disrupt pillar number 2. Pillar number 2 is focus. If you are distracted by circumstances, things that are happening around you, that's going to make it very difficult to focus on the plan at the box, or to, in his case, be able to do what he does best. He has said in interviews that he doesn't really change anything, that he just kind of does stuff. And so that's totally fine. That means that if his mindset is off, his focus is off, he definitely is not going to be able to do what he does best. That leads us to pillar number 3 is approach. Basically, it sounds like he doesn't really have much of an approach, that everything just kind of comes natural. Well, and that comes natural because, well, mindset is usually in a good place, the focus is in a good place, and so the approach just kind of happens. When you're just such a pure hitter, the things that are required to be the best hitter possible for that person are coming together naturally. So in this case, he is in uncharted territory. He's never struggled, nobody's ever struggled quite this much before, at least in terms of strikeouts. So in this case, I think it is absolutely necessary that he implements a simple approach. Okay, we're going to go Freddie Freeman style. We're going soft line drive over the shortstop's head. Okay, in between pitches, he needs to take a deep breath. That's going to help him focus. Okay, and then of course we got to work on the mindset. We got to reframe the situation, put us into more of a positive place, or at least come to some closure to where now we can take the situation and we can separate it from our game, and that is no longer leaking into at bats, and of course making his at bats suffer. Okay, so mindset, focus, and approach. Now, let's get into some of his swings. The top video is from, I'm not sure, a couple years ago when he had 6 consecutive games with a home run. Look at just his body language, how he stands in the box. The dude is so chill. Look at him. Okay, here we go. This is a home run to opposite field. Everything looks smooth, controlled, just classic Devers that we all know. And then we're going to look at the bottom. Okay, the bottom was this year, 2025. And you can see clearly everything looks a bit sped up and rough. You could see, obviously, it was a check swing, but you could see like there's a lot of effort there. A lot of effort in the swing. And so what happens is when you don't have an approach, and then of course you're not focused, and the mindset, you're distracted by something else, it's going to make it really difficult to compete at such a high level, especially in the major leagues. Your margin for error is already so small. If you have these disruptions in these 3 pillars, you're going to suffer at the plate. It's just how it is. The main thing that I do see with this, again, you can make all kinds of arguments about what he's doing wrong mechanically, but we're talking, this is not a mechanical issue. Okay, this is one of the best swings in baseball. He has the mechanics. This is purely a mental issue. The biggest thing, though, that I do see is tempo. Tempo is how fast or slow your loading and stride process is. Okay, it needs to feel smooth. It needs to feel in control. Okay, that's what partly the approach does for you. A good approach is typically to the opposite field or slight opposite gap. The reason why it's in the opposite gap is because that's what's going to... The reason why the ideal approach is in the opposite gap is for this very reason, to help slow you down. Everybody knows that we have to get ready early. Okay, well, if you're going to get ready early, it's really easy to swing early or to rush forward. So in order to slow that down, be ready early, and to be able to be in control and slow and let the ball travel, you have to have, in most cases, that opposite field approach or some variation of it. If he doesn't have that here, then he's very likely going to have a tendency to want to rush forward. If we look here at the bottom, we could see that he's rushing through. Okay, so when he gets to this little peak of his lift here, the goal is to get there and kind of wait for the ball to release. You can see he starts to go forward before the ball even leaves the hand. This means that he's going too fast. He's a little too early. And then you might say, oh, well, but he looks like he's late. Right, because your brain is trying to compensate. Your eyes are telling your brain, oh, crap, we're too early. Slow down, try to delay, try to stay back, but yet then by that point now it's too late. You've overshot and lost that window. On the top is when he was doing his best, when he had 6 consecutive games with a home run. You could see at the top of the lift, he gets there a tick earlier and he hangs there. See how he's hanging there longer and doesn't really commit forward until the ball is actually coming out of the hand. Here again, back on the bottom, you can see he's kind of blowing through that stop sign just a hair. It's not much, but he's early. He's early. He's going too fast. Okay, even more important than being early, he's too fast. So he needs to slow his tempo down so he could see the ball better out of the hand, make better decisions. Thinking about hitting the ball the other way over the shortstop's head, Freddie Freeman style, taking deep breaths in between each pitch, and then we got to work on the mindset. If he can breathe between pitches, focus on the approach, that will help short term and will get him probably out of this funk. But if he is not addressing the mindset issue, it's going to keep leaking its way back in and messing with the focus and messing with the approach. This is how I would help Rafael Devers with the 3 pillars of mental hitting.